Hello everybody, my name is Jared and today I'm going to be reviewing for you Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 is not a good movie in my opinion. Not just because I didn't like it, but also because it was actually kind of unnecessary. The third film ended perfectly, with the toys watching Andy drive off in the distance, accepting that their time with him is over, and now it's time for them to move on. That was an awesome ending to this series. So why was this movie made? No idea. It was totally unnecessary and pretty much pointless too. So, what happens in the movie? Well, sorry. Anyways, okay, so Bo Peep is actually a lamp in this series, not a toy, but Andy played with her like a toy, so yeah. She was Andy's little sister. What was her name again? I don't know. But Andy's sister has grown old enough to not be afraid of the dark, so she doesn't need Bo Peep's lamp to be like that anymore. So Bo Peep is about to be donated or sold or whatever it was. Woody considers going with her, but he decides to stay behind in order to take care of Andy. Flash forward to a few years later when the toys are now living with Bonnie, and Bonnie has just officially made the series' newest character, Forky, whose name should really be Sporky because he is a plastic spork, not a fork. Before Bonnie's first day of kindergarten, Bonnie's family decides to take a road trip to a little playground theme park fair thing. Throughout the whole trip, Woody has to constantly stop Forky from throwing himself in the trash because Forky is literally trash, and trash is the only thing he knows. But over time, Woody slowly begins to teach Forky what it means to be a toy. Once they get to the theme park, Woody notices that Bo Peep's lamp is in an antique store. He and Forky go over there to look for her, only to be captured by a doll named Gabby, whose minions are these little, really creepy dummy thingies. Gabby wants to take Woody's voice box because hers is broken, and she thinks that with Woody's voice box, then she would be able to be bought by a young girl named Harmony, who often stops by the shop. Gabby has been in this antique store for a little while now, and she's a toy. It's her dream to be played with the kid, and Harmony seems like the perfect girl to do it. Woody manages to escape, but ends up leaving Forky behind. He then meets up with Bo Peep, or reunites with Bo Peep, and this little cop girl thing. I don't even remember what her name was. She was actually pretty forgettable, which is one of the mistakes this movie made. Bo Peep agrees to help Woody go rescue Forky from Gabby, even though Gabby is very dangerous and quite psychotic. And they also meet up with Buzz Lightyear and two new characters, Bunny and Ducky, who both have the potential for future serial killers as they fantasize about killing the owner of the antique store 3 different times, who is an old woman, by the way, in order to get the key to Gabby's hideout. They seek the help of the Keanu Reeves character, Duke-a-Boom, who will sort of do a stunt all the way there with the key. It's been a little bit since I last saw this movie. So yeah, they try to rescue Forky, only to get their butts handed down to them, which leads to Woody and Bo Peep getting into a fight, which leads to her calling her a lost toy, and apparently a lost toy is like something really bad for a toy, so they just all leave him. Woody's on his own by now, and desperate to get Forky back to Bonnie, he agrees to give his voice box up to Gabby, which he does, and then he's totally fine. And I'll talk about that later. With her new voice box, Gabby presents herself to Harmony, only to get completely rejected. Wah, wah. But seriously though, it's very sad. Anyways, so at this point, Bonnie's family is about to leave. So Bo Peep, Buzz, Bunny Ducky, and everyone else go back for Woody and Forky. Woody brings Gabby along to go with Bonnie, because Woody feels sorry for her because he's a wholesome character. Woody's awesome. And, so yeah, Gabby finds another girl who's lost, so Gabby gets taken by that girl, the gang gets back to Bonnie, and Woody decides to stay with Bo Peep. And that is basically the short, nutshell summary of the story. As you can tell, I did not like this movie. There's a lot of things wrong with it, and one of the things that ticked me off the most was that all of our favorite characters, which consist of Jessie, Rex, the Potato Heads, Ham, Slinky, They are all shoved aside for this one little fork who is literally, and actually pretty metaphorically, made out of trash. Like, all the characters we know and love from the past 3 films are all pushed aside for this one character. They are only in the movie for about a total of 7 minutes. And they do absolutely nothing. They don't help Buzz go out to look for Woody. They just stay in the van for some reason, and they do nothing except for nearly get Bonnie's dad arrested just as soon as Bonnie's family is about to leave the park. Buzz Lightyear is still a pretty cool character, but there's this little thing in the movie where he first learns about a consciousness, or like, you know, your inner voice that tells you what to do, or, whatever that is. And Buzz thinks that literal because of those little buttons he pushes on himself that tell him what to do, and he literally uses those little voice lines of his consciousness to go help Woody. And now that is actually a pretty funny idea, but it would have been a lot better to use somewhere in Toy Story 1 or 2, because throughout the past 3 movies, Buzz has been able to make plenty of choices like that. And for him to just now learn about this consciousness of his and then use it in this movie, like, it's funny for like the first 5 minutes of it, but then it gets kind of annoying. There were a lot of things in this movie that were pointless too. For example, the new characters, Bunny and Ducky, their goal throughout the entire film is to get a kid. And they don't get a kid. In the scene where the gang is getting Woody back to Bonnie, and Forky back to Bonnie too, you think that they would go with Bonnie because that's their ultimate dream, to get a kid. And instead, they choose to stay behind with Woody and Bo Peep in the park where there are no kids. Well, there are plenty of kids, but they're not going to get taken by kids. So if they wanted a kid, why didn't they get a kid? The character Duke Kaboom is cool, but he's got this little flashback where his kid rejected him because he didn't live up to the commercial, and because of that he fails a stunt, only to completely nail that stunt with his eyes closed the next time they try to get Woody back to Bonnie. So for him to fail that stunt only to completely nail it the next time makes his backstory pointless as well. And then there's the thing with Gabby. Now it's set up to make you think that without his voice box, which he carries in his back, that's why I've been pointing at my back when I say voice box. Yeah, you think that without Woody's voice box, Woody is going to die. And when he does give up his voice box in order to get Forky back, he is completely fine. So all the running and shouting and arguing and the capturing and rescuing of Forky, completely pointless. Lots of things in this movie were pointless. Really stick together in this movie, actually. There's a lot of fun Easter eggs, like that little British soldier with the drums in that one little Disney Pixar mini movie. And then you've got the grape soda cat from Up in There. Bo Peep was pretty good, actually. Like, in the first 2 movies, she's just a background character. You could still remember her, but in this one, they, like, actually gave her skills and things to do. They even named her Sheep, which consist of Billy, Goat, and Gruff, which are literally just one big sheep with 3 heads. So yeah, I liked that they gave Bo, like, a new personality and something to do. And that's what I have to say about this movie. It's not a good movie. It's pointless. It's unnecessary. The characters we know and love are just shoved aside. And yeah. There are some good stuff, like the thing with Bo, but it's a bad movie. It's a really bad movie. And with that being said, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not leave a like, consider subscribing down below, and I will see you in the next video.